Basically everything we was taught growing up about food and diet and nutrition was wrong. But today, we learn the truth. What is going on, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today, you guys, we're getting into a conversation about the American diet explained. Who is telling us that fat is bad? Why are we looking at a pyramid to tell us what to eat? And how did Americans go from looking from this to this? If y'all want to know the answers to these questions, continue watching this video. To start off this whole video, I kind of want to take you guys back a little bit. So in the 1950s, the most cause for concern as far as public health was actually cancer. Some would say because cigarettes were becoming more and more popular back in the 1950s, you were considered to be real high class and elegant if you had a nice long stick cigarette or cigar. Y'all, they even had doctors advertising their favorite brands of cigarettes. Okay, that's real influencer culture. But then people started to notice that there was a higher rate of people dying from cardiovascular or heart disease. So then the questions came as what's causing all these heart conditions and heart problems. And it did not help that in 1955, President Eisenhower had a heart attack that pretty much shocked the entire country. And we'll get back to how that plays a huge part in this later on. So around this time, there are a lot of scientists who are trying to figure out what is causing the high rates of heart disease within Americans. And one in particular, a physiologist named ᴄᴜ, created his own study using data from 6 countries, men within these countries, might I add, trying to study the diet to see exactly if diet could be related to having heart conditions and problems. So he was on the right track, but let me show you where he went wrong. Scientists argue that ᴄᴜ had cherry-picked his data because at the time, there was data from about 22 countries available to get an idea of if there was a correlation between food and heart conditions. ᴄᴜ chose 6. But at the end of it, his study did conclude that saturated fat had a direct correlation to heart disease. So what did ᴄᴜ do? He took this study and went over to the World Health Organization, the who's who of diet and nutrition advice. And of course, it wasn't received as well because, like I said, there's a lot of data that was not used in his study that was available. But after being rejected by the World Health Organization, ᴄᴜ came back and created his infamous 7-country study. This study began in 1958, basically doing the same thing. For a period of a year, he followed men from 7 countries to see if there was a correlation between their diet and their rate for them getting heart disease. And once again, ᴄᴜ was proven right. But it wouldn't be that hard because he only added 1 country. But like I said, he was not the only person around the same time trying to answer the same question about diet and heart disease. So there was a British physician and medical researcher named John ᴄဃᴇᴄ, who actually wrote a series of papers stating that sugar had a bigger correlation between somebody having an increased rate for getting some kind of heart disease or heart condition. And this posed to be a threat to ᴄᴜ. So when word got around about Dr. ᴄဃᴇᴄ trying to promote this theory about sugar being the real cause of concern for heart disease, ᴄᴜ went on a smear campaign. Basically, every chance he got, he tried to discredit Dr. ᴄဃᴇ's theory. And then using his status as a member of the Nutrition Advisory Committee for the American Heart Association to push his idea out to the public a little bit better. Basically, the man had the whole machine behind him. Then, like I said, President Eisenhower messed around and had a whole heart attack, scared the country. Everybody wants to know how can they avoid themselves suffering from a heart attack. And so from the pressure from that, the government had to figure out some quick rules, some quick guidelines to come up with. That way they can put the public at ease. And then they used the recommendation from the World Health Organization, basically Dr. ᴄ's theory, as the guideline that fat is bad, so cut fat out and put more carbs in. And hence the birth of the modern American diet. But let me tell you, it was not just that one incident. This was like the health crisis perfect storm. Mind you, this is the same time around World War II. So think about the picture of an average American life. You have men gone off to war. You have mothers who used to be in the household cooking meals for their children, now taking up space in the workforce in place of the men. Also, we have the bust of the Industrial Revolution. So now people are not necessarily walking like how they used to, where beep, 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 hopping in the car, catching a ride. So now the need for the average American has changed. We're not at home cooking our own meals anymore. We're off at work. We're busy. We have things to do. So now you have a bust of technology and for the Industrial Revolution with a need for quick and convenient food. mass food production. So manufacturers get to working, creating all these foods that they can produce at a mass level that are quick, convenient, taste good, but cannot have any natural fats because fat is bad. But that was at the expense of the American public's health. Because Ansel-Keys' study has later on to be proven to be incorrect. Saturated fat actually has no scientific correlation between somebody's rate of having heart disease. Sugar has been proven to have a higher correlation between somebody's risk of having heart disease, cardiovascular issues, and a whole list of chronic illnesses. That's why at today's time, the main 3 causes of concern for public health is diabetes, obesity, and heart problems. Americans now are just eating less healthy fats, more processed carbs, and moving a lot less than we used to back in the 50s. But all hope is not lost, because the one saving grace about having a food-related chronic illness is that if bad food got you in, good food can get you out. So we're going to continue this conversation next week, going into actual nutrition, the key macronutrients that you guys need to be taking in every single day, as far as good carbs, healthy fats, proteins, and the like. So guys, if you have not already, make sure you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below what your biggest takeaway was from this week's episode. And then if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Tap on that bell for me one good time. That way you guys know every single time the next video will be getting uploaded. But until next time, you guys, remember to always keep it moving.